Any incident that scariest moment of your life?
Well, my parents were photographing an elephant at that time. Big male tusker comes and the fella toppled our jeep. The jeep was completely upside down, so we couldn't get out. We couldn't do anything. Luckily, no one was hurt.
Famous saying that the solo elephant is the most scariest.
So, yes, we should know to keep our distance and always be cautious that you are actually in their home.
One of the bears are, I think, endangered.
Yes, so again, they are on the red list because, yes, they are endangered. We have quite a few. Numbers are reducing.
Any final words you would like to say for future budding photographers who would love to come into this field?
Make photography a part of your life. If it's what you want to continue as a profession, do it. Go for it. Start small. Even your phone is fine.
Hello everyone, this is the Aadmi podcast and I am Muaad, your host, joining all the way from Sri Lanka. And today we have a very special guest, a person who loves photography and the camera and many more aspects in life. She is none other than Senuri Premaratna, a very interesting personality, a very good friend of mine, of course. Senuri, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Muaad. Thank you, first of all, for giving me this opportunity. I'm really glad to be here and hope I can give a bit of my knowledge and what I like, what I don't like, and all of that in this little bit of time that we have today.
So starting off with photography, you and the camera has been a long lasting love story. How did that start, your love for photography and the camera?
So I think it started off at a very young age. So I was first about 9 when I got my first camera. I'm 22 at the moment, turning 22 this year. So yeah, I started off at a very young age, and I think credit goes to my parents for actually introducing me to this whole aspect of it and supporting me throughout this whole journey that I've been through with wildlife photography, using a camera, getting used to wildlife and all of that. So yes, I think it started from a really, really young age, and it's something I've always loved. As a teenager, I always wanted to be a vet or do something regarding wildlife, but later on learning that physics was compulsory, I was like, no. So I gave up on that idea, but still I think I go very closely to wildlife, and yeah, it'll always be something I absolutely love.
Tell us a little about your recent escapades into the wild. Where did you recently go into the wilds with your camera?
Yes, so actually, Sri Lanka is very famous for the wildlife that we have here. Our leopards, tuskers, elephants, the sloth bear, all of that. And so it's such a tourist attraction here in Sri Lanka. And so the highest dense population for leopards in Asia here is Sri Lanka's Yala National Park. So I often visit Yala National Park. I was there just last week actually. And so yes, we have Yala National Park, we have Vilpattu, we have Udawalawe, we have Bundala, we have Kumana, we have so many wildlife parks in Sri Lanka. But of course, for me, it's always been Yala. Yala is somewhere I'm really close to. It's a place very close to my heart because I absolutely love leopards. I love photographing them. I love identifying them. I love tracking them and all of that. So yes, I was there last week in Yala National Park, and yeah, so it's been really nice going there, photographing animals, birds, tuskers, elephants, leopards, and yeah, it's something I look forward to keep doing every day of my life. Hopefully, one day.
We were almost supposed to do the show when you were at the national park, but unfortunately, you had the flu, and it was a very unfortunate situation. But nonetheless, it's a very interesting books and such a professional atmosphere you have in the background.
So I'm actually in my dad's chambers, and my dad's a lawyer. So yeah, this is where he meets his clients and all. Hence the very professional setting instead of a jungle setting. So yeah.
I was expecting a lot of cameras and wild animals surrounding you. So nonetheless.
Well, unfortunately, if we were able to do it last week, it could have been that, but here we are today. So
was always running away from the Colombo city life into the wild. So again, going back to your childhood, you must have definitely been a troublemaking, very such a troublesome kid at school. How is that? And also, to a special mention, you have a twin, so it's a double trouble at school. How is that? How imagine like having a twin is really, really very rare chance. How is that childhood with your twin, Seneli? How was that experience at school?
So, I mean, not just my childhood, I think even now I'm absolutely just trouble walking around to my parents. But yeah, I mean, yes, both of us put together were so much chaos, so much trouble. But I feel like with age it's reduced, but I wouldn't say it's completely reduced. But yeah, I mean, so my twin and I are completely different. We're miles apart, worlds apart. We're so different. We're not identical either. So yeah, I mean, put together, we were like 10 boys. And people always ask my parents, why didn't you all have other kids? And my mom's like, I have two, and both of them are like 10 boys put together. So I think that about sums up what both of us are like. So yeah.
Of course, and again, if she was here with the audience could really see the drastic difference of how of a troublesome kid, however, not even Senuri is and the twin. Of course, she's a very silent character, I suppose, compared to you.
Only in front of people she doesn't know, but you get to know her and you'll suddenly wonder why you're not deaf. So yeah,
You are, of course, the most outgoing and,
for
always,
sure.
hunting for photos, and not only in the wild, of course, and also tell us a little bit about your sports photography and the other aspect of media photography inside. You are involved in the other work as well. That's how we
Yeah.
met at one of the rugby matches. It's rugby is very huge in Sri Lanka. Tell us about that.
Yes, so that was something, sports photography was something I actually started quite recently, actually last year. I mean, I did do it to school as a part of the photography society in school. I was a president. And yes, so we did have like sports aspects there as well. But I actually took it up properly after leaving school last year, where I started off with, well, Sri Lanka's schools rugby league. And that was again the whole aspect of sports photography from cricket to rugby.
Yeah, and also Senuri, a little bit of info about rugby here in Sri Lanka. It's the second most followed sport in Asia after Japan. I mean, we have the second highest following of rugby after Japan, even though we are not in the top world rugby ranking. So Sri Lanka's school rugby is so huge that you get at some matches like 10, 20,000 people. So that's a very good experience that both of us had and will be having here in Sri Lanka. Of course, going back to your photography life, what's your favorite area of photography? I think you said it's Yala. Can you elaborate on how Yala and how you fell in love with Yala's wilderness? How is that?
So, I mean, Yala is a place, I mean, it's just a 3.5 hour drive from Colombo. Well, if you go beyond the speed limit, maybe 2.5. But yeah. So yeah, Yala has always been somewhere very, very close to me. I think I was first about 5 months when I was taken to Yala by my parents. And it's somewhere that we went very frequently, right up until maybe my O levels. And it was then like we reduced it down a bit, maybe once a year, twice a year is when we went maximum, because work was tough, school, studies, all of that balancing was really hard. And so later on, after my A levels, is when I got back into it again. And so being introduced to Yala, the wildlife, the birds, the trees, all that beautiful nature at such a young age actually made me just fall in love with it. It's somewhere so close to my heart and somewhere I'll always choose over. If I'm always given the option to go abroad or to Yala, definitely choose Yala. So yeah, it's somewhere I really look forward to going, somewhere I absolutely love. And so actually I'm really grateful that my parents were able to introduce me to this, give me the opportunity and continue that they're giving me this opportunity to
Mhm.
go and explore the wilderness in Yala National Park. I mean, you guys should definitely try it out if you all do come to Sri Lanka. The leopards are beautiful, the tuskers, the elephants, the birds, the sloth bears, the buffalo, the deer. It's truly a heartwarming feeling to be there with the nature, with the trees, with the birds. Yeah, definitely give it a try.
Also, Senri, what's your passion? And I heard, I mean, like you said to me earlier that about leopards, tuskers, sloth bears, and like some animals who are in the verge of extinction. But what's the biggest deal about leopards here in Sri Lanka? If you, I think a lot of our audience here in Sri Lanka and of course around the globe might be wondering why leopards are so important to our biodiversity. And you, being an avid enthusiast about leopards and tuskers from a very young age, would be knowing a lot of interesting stories and incidents about this particular area. Tell us more about that.
So actually, Sri Lanka is one country when you take from the world where we have a very high leopard density population. So because of that, I think that's why it's such a big hit here in Sri Lanka and why we're worldwide recognized for our leopards. And
Mhm.
so, of course, as you know, we have four wildcats in Sri Lanka, and the main one of them is the leopard. So being able to see this leopard, the elusive leopard of Sri Lanka, which is actually red listed because of, well, it's going extinct, it's endangered animal, it's
Mhm.
killed for its skin, its teeth, various reasons. And so, because of this, I think this is why it's so famous here and such a highlight for those tourism and every possible place here in Sri Lanka. So, yes, that way I think it is very good that we actually have so many leopards here in Sri Lanka. And being able to see them, photograph them, identify them, track them is actually such a blessed opportunity that I guess all of us involved in that aspect actually had. And so, yes, we have so many stories regarding leopards dating back to centuries with the man eating leopard in Kumana and the
Mhm.
leopards in Yala. So, all of that, I mean, the attacks you've read of, which were like those days, but now we don't have, obviously, because technology is advanced, there's development around, urbanization, and all of that as well. So with all of that coming into aspect, and our leopard population actually is increasing quite a bit, which is I think really really good. And so with all of that aspect coming into play, I think that's why the Sri Lankan leopard, the elusive leopard of Sri Lanka, is so important to us.
Again, Senuri, going back to the jumbos, the wild elephants, the tuskers, the baby elephants, they are a very big attraction around the world, and especially the Asian elephant here in Sri Lanka. The African elephant is there and across the African continent. But I think I reckon that you probably think that Asian elephants are cuter than African elephants. Am I right? They are very, very, very adorable, right?
For
I mean,
sure.
not to be not to be I mean rude, but what's your side of that?
Yes, I think I have to agree there. I feel like our elephants are so much nicer. Yes, the African elephants are beautiful. I would agree with that. But as a Sri Lankan, as a lover of our wildlife, I have to say the Sri Lankan tuskers and elephants are well much more appealing than the African elephant. And so, yes, I mean, we've seen that over the years, the number of elephants and tuskers have been drastically reducing here in Sri Lanka. And yes, well, people are being educated, people are taking action to actually protect these animals because at the end of the day, we wouldn't want to endanger them, we wouldn't want them to go extinct. So, yes, I mean, actually, that's it. I do agree with Muad that our elephants are so much nicer and were so much more cuter. But yeah, I mean, it's so nice to see the herds of elephants together. The elephant gathering, which is very famous here in Sri
Uh-huh.
Lanka. So, Kalawewa, areas like that, Kalawewa area, are very famous for the elephant gathering, where you will see a close upon 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 elephants gather together during the season, where they will mate. You'll see elephant. The herds are crazy. You'll see big elephants, small elephants, calves. It's an absolutely wonderful experience to see them, and it's just simply I'm at a loss for words when it comes to what like beauty nature holds here with the elephants.
Of course, and also like you said, on the sadder note, there are lots and lots of wildlife, especially wild elephant attacks happening mainly, especially due to the human activities which confront their livelihoods. People are going and building houses and farming in the middle of their habitat. But on the other hand, there are farmers who are saying in their side also they are making a living. So it's a very sad situation from both the sides. And of course, at the end of the day, it's the wild elephants and human lives that are being put at risk. Any incidents where you faced any dangerous? What's the most dangerous incident that you have faced? Any Any incident that you would like to recall that you almost had the scariest moment of your life?
So back when I think the scariest would be back when we were like 3 years old. We were at Yala National Park,
Mhm.
and I had gone in with my grandparents, and we were in our vehicle. Well, my parents were photographing an elephant at that time, and this out of nowhere, this like big male tusker comes from the side, and we never saw him coming because we were photographing a herd that was in front of us, and the fella toppled our jeep.
Oh,
And so the jeep was completely upside down, so we couldn't get out. We couldn't do anything. Luckily, no one was hurt, but yeah, so we had to wait. All of us were just upside down for a good 5-10 minutes till the tusker went off, till
oh
the herd
my!
went off. And it was only then that we could come out of the vehicle.
Upside
And
down?
yeah, we were properly upside down. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just a part of the whole wildlife
Mm,
aspect and loving it that you get used to all of this. I mean, yes, it's scary, but also it's so thrilling. And it's like all these little memories are what you carry forward in life with you and
absolutely.
things that you'll never forget. And generations forward, the stories that you can tell them as well. So, yeah, I think that's probably the scariest encounter I've had with an elephant of such.
And they say, especially the lone, the solo elephant or the tusker is the most, the wildest and the scariest, because the solo elephant will just go on a rampage, just toppling and.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true. I agree that. That's true.
and also, Senri, going back, there is a famous saying that the solo elephant or the wild elephant who is single, or the single, or the wild elephant mother who is always roaming alone in the jungle is the most scariest, is the most wildest, and it can basically go on a rampage on when the elephant is single-handedly picked out. So that's a very interesting story that you had to share with us.
Yeah. So if threatened, yes, they can be very
Mm.
dangerous. It doesn't matter if they're in a herd or
Right.
solo, they can be really dangerous. And so, I mean, well, actually, at the beginning of last year, we had an incident where a tusker named Nandi Mitra at Yala National Park attacked a vehicle with foreigners in it. But the fellow was in mask, and when a fellow is in mask, they're absolutely aggressive. They don't care what's in their way, they will hit him.
Mm.
And so this was the case, and the fellow was in mask, and obviously this vehicle was making a bit of a noise, and
Mhm.
so it really aggravated the fellow. And luckily, I mean, all of this was caught on camera, it went viral. And so the fellow just turns around and completely attacks the vehicle. So, I mean, yes, we should know to keep our distance and always be cautious that you are actually in their home when you do go into a park like that. So,
Yeah.
yes, we should always be careful of what we do and how loud we are, we conduct ourselves. So, yes, self conduct is very important if you want to, well, be safe from a solo elephant.
Yeah, and also, Senri, going back to leopards, there are leopards I saw in recent article. They are named as I saw Sasha, and different names they have been given, and they are being tracked. What's I think our audience again would love to know about the naming of leopards and what's the story behind that.
Yes, so that's right. So actually, when you take leopards here in Sri Lanka, we have leopards in Yala National Park, we have leopards in Kumana, in
Mhm.
Vilpattu, and in Horton Plains. And yes, quite a few at Udavalawe National Park as well.
Mm.
So when you take the naming aspect of leopards, so like every human has a different thumbprint, fingerprint,
Mhm.
leopards too have a very different and unique spot pattern. So using this spot pattern is how we identify a leopard actually. So no two leopards will have the same spot pattern. Every leopard will have a different spot pattern unique to themselves.
Wow.
And so by tracking them, identifying their range, their home range, their behavior,
Mhm.
and by identifying their spots, the uniqueness of their spots is how we tell a leopard apart from another.
Right.
And by doing so, we are able to actually give them a name and track them, then track their cubs, their mates, all of that, and further on.
That's very interesting. I mean, like, imagine, like, I mean, there are millions of different patterns and spots. So that's something would be new to most of our audiences. Also, Sinuri, no other incidents anything you want to share about sloth bears, especially one of the bears are, I think, endangered, or I'm not sure, or
Yes, so again, they are on the red list because, yes, they are endangered. We have quite a few numbers are reducing. So I think it's very important again that we actually raise awareness about this and give maximum protection to them. So actually, Yala National Park has quite a lot of sloth bears as well, and it's an absolutely amazing experience to see these sloth bears because well, some of them actually pretty scared of vehicles. But there will be about two or three that are not scared at all. There can be hundreds of jeeps down the road, and the fellow will just walk because he can't care less. I mean, it's such a nice sighting, and well, when you compare the brown bear and the leopard, the sloth bear here in Sri Lanka, they're very different. Our sloth bears are quite small in size, but they're just an absolute ball of black fur, and it's so nice to see them. So, I mean, yes, you should definitely come down to Sri Lanka just to see our sloth bear.
Also, Senuri, going back to your family and friends and the parents and your sibling, would you like to tell some interesting stories about, especially you have been going as a family to all the wildlife parks, all the national parks from a very young age. So, any recollections you would like to go back into your family, your parents, your mom and dad, and of course, your friends and of course extended family. So any other interesting stories, because you have been, like you said, from a very young age, a family going on the photographic adventures into the wild. So
Yeah, so actually, my father's been at it since he was a teenager. Well, actually, for him, it wasn't about photography aspect, but actually going with his friends, drinking, partying, all of that, that whole aspect.
right.
So, I mean, since he was about 16, 17, he's been going to. So, it's a place very familiar to him as well. And so, yes, I mean, again, I'm so glad that they give me the opportunity to do all of this and that sometimes they do come with me as well. And so, with my love growing for it, I have been able to get my friends into it as well, talk them into it, go on trips with them to Yala. I was actually there, my birthday about 2 years ago. I actually took some of my friends and went to Yala. And I gave them the whole wildlife aspect, and they actually really liked it. And it was so nice. We had a really good time. We had such good sightings, and it was really nice to spend time with them in a place I love. And so when it comes to going as a family, yes, my sister, she's absolutely lazy. So she has a policy where she gets into the vehicle and she actually carries a pillow into the park and she sleeps. And whenever we see a leopard or an animal, we're supposed to wake her up. And she'll look at the animal for like 5 minutes and she goes back to sleep. So that's my sister.
So you're telling
Then when
you're
it
not
comes to
lazy at
my
all.
well, I do fall asleep on and off, but not like my sister does. She just goes into the park to sleep. That's it. So yeah, when it comes to my mom, she's really scared of elephants. Like she's absolutely petrified. And so all of us absolutely make the maximum out of that. So if there's a herd of elephants,
Right.
the driver that we generally go with, he goes up to the right, like right up to the herd, and he will park the vehicle there and wait. And so my mom is having like an absolute panic attack in the vehicle, and she's like, take it from here, the elephant will come. And my driver was like, no, no, calm down, just wait here. So I mean, yeah, we do that all the time, most of the time actually, just to like get her worked up. But other than that, she's fully like into it. She really likes it. And then it comes to my dad. My dad was well, he did take photographs a few years ago, maybe when I was really small and before I got into the like whole photography aspect. But after a while, he did actually lose touch with it. And but then I feel like after I got in touch with it and after I started doing it, he too built a liking towards it again. And well, now he does take pictures on and off. But yeah, more than that, I feel like apart from me going to like enjoy the wildlife that Yala and taking pictures, the rest of my family just comes to like just enjoy the trees, the birds, the noise, the wind, all of that.
Wonderful. I think your parents are now safe. Like the baton has been passed, and the photography is in safe hands and in the family. So they must be really proud about what you have achieved in a very young age, what you are doing in a very young age. Also, going back to achievements, what do you think your next goal is in terms of photography? There's a humongous number of awards and certifications regarding photography globally and locally. What are your ideas on that aspect of photography in Sri Lanka?
So I feel like it's really nice that there are so many competitions both locally and globally that recognize photographers, from professional photographers to amateurs. That's really nice. I still consider myself an amateur, very much an amateur. And so I think it's really nice to give these photographers the opportunity. And so, well, in terms of considering my photography, I would feel like my next big goal is to actually have a photographic exhibition, well, a wildlife photographic exhibition at the end of this year. So if all goes well, fingers crossed, maybe I can make that a reality.
I remember you telling me for the first time we met at an event that you finally, before 25 or 23, you want to have your own exhibition. I hope and pray that your dream and all the wishes come true, Senuri, because
Thank
we have
you.
seen your work as friends and, of course, as people who have worked with you. And of course, I hope our audience today will also see your work, those amazing pictures you have taken during the past few years. So that is a great sentiment for all your hard work uh, through crisis here in Sri Lanka, through COVID, through, going through education, A levels, and of course, higher education. I think you have achieved marvelous feat in terms of photography, and it's really soothing to the eyes for all of us to see some fabulous photographs. And of course, we are nearing the end of this program. This is a very wonderful topic that we can go on talking for hours and hours, but unfortunately, there's a time constraint. Sarah, any last few words for budding? Any final words you would like to say for future budding photographers who would love to come into this field?
So, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm so glad that I was able to share my knowledge and the big bits and pieces of all the experiences I've had over the years. So, I mean, take that camera, go out, start from a bird, start from a flower, a leaf, even, it doesn't matter. Make photography a part of your life. If it's what you want to continue as a profession, do it. Go for it. Start small. Even your phone is fine. Just start off with what you have, and down the line, you can improve yourself, buy yourself that equipment. And yeah, do what you love. That's what's most important. And so I hopefully we can attach some of my photographs. If we can do that, I would be glad to share some of my photographs with you guys. So yeah, I feel like it's always important to do what you love. Be with the people who support you through what you love and do what you love all the time.
Thank you, Senuri. It's been a wonderful session with you, and I'm glad that we finally had a very civil conversation without too much of jokes. I was really glad that you uh, gave us one of the best interesting stories to share with. Most of the people here in Sri Lanka, of course, won't be having such interesting stories going into the wild, and of course, sharing those stories with us and, of course, our audience around the globe. Thank you very much again, and we hope to see you soon and hope you a great future ahead in the photographic arena.
Thank you, Muaad. Thank you for having me.
And see you. Namaste.